Hey, Hunter. Make sure when Miller gets here, Mike's Huh?
Okay.
Welcome to the second episode of the James Miller Coaches Show, presented by the Credit Union of Georgia, the official bank of Reinhardt Athletics. My name is Lorenzo Robinson. I'm the host of your show, and like last week, we are starting off with the man with the plan, the director of athletics, Coach Jonathan Burton. Coach Burton, how you doing today, sir?
I'm good, Lorenzo. Good to see you.
Absolutely, and much like myself and Gabriel Schrei, who were on the call for the game last week against Cumberland, you also made the trip down to Lebanon, Tennessee for the game, and I will say it was probably one of the better environments that I've seen in NAIA, I would say. What was your take on sort of the environment of that game?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the good thing about that game is obviously with it being played at night, more people can attend. And, obviously get you in a position to where you feel like if we host night games on campus that, we can try to include that type of environment as well because, you want the student body to be there. Most importantly, you want to have fans that can also come there as well. But, having the night game, it was perfect football weather. It was 59 degrees. I mean, it was awesome. And they did a really good job of creating a good environment. It was their home opener. It was obviously our first road test. But it was a lot of fun to be there in person.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that point up about hosting more night games, more night events. You were, of course, the baseball coach, and also you're overseeing the entire operation now. So you have football, you have all these various outdoor sports. Do you feel like in the future hosting more of these prime time matchups is something that you'll look into for the programs?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's something I want to work with Coach Miller on and figure out, exactly like how can we improve that atmosphere. Obviously, playing in the middle of the day when it's hot, Georgia's got a lot of heat. And, it's a big difference playing a middle of the day football game that, is draining for the fans too. I mean, I think a night game for us as we look at this and we try to build this program and figure out how we can win a national title in football and do those type of things. I think playing at night is only going to strengthen that type of atmosphere that we want. And it's definitely something in the future that we want to look at for sure.
Absolutely. And this will be the last thing that I'll ask you. You were probably a very important guest, but you were able to have a front row seat to the game on Saturday. Just kind of give me your take on it and what you believe went wrong, went right, things that we can improve on just from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that I know Coach and his coaching staff has looked at and figured out what he needs to do better in terms of, how we prepare on the road. I know our team got up there Friday night and, had a chance to really get there at a good time, to have a good productive walkthrough, get a good meal. Playing the night game obviously gives you more time to prepare through the day, but I think as we evaluate the game, a lot of the things I'm sure Coach is going to talk about were self-inflicted. And, the disappointing thing in football, you don't get as many chances as you do in baseball. You get one chance a week, and, and those games are precious. And it's not one that we can get back, but it's one that I felt like we could have won and we probably should have won. But it's going to be hard to beat a lot of the teams that we play on our schedule if we are going to beat ourselves in certain moments and certain opportunities. And the game was still there for us to win, and even though we didn't play our best brand of football, we still had a chance to win the game. And unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to win that game. But hopefully it's something we're going to learn from, as we go in to play a really good team this week. Southeastern's a good football program, and we're obviously going back on the road on a short week and going to have to find a way to clean some of those things up to give us a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. And I know these guys will be prepared, and hopefully the guys are disappointed, and most importantly, hopefully they have a little bit of a different edge. I think we need to play with a more fiery edge early in the game. We had it in the second half, and the first half I felt like we were kind of just there. We didn't really feel like we had that edge that I want to see our football program play with and that Coach wants us to play with. So it's a learning lesson. We're 1-1, and we get a chance in these next 2 weeks to play two really good football programs to prepare us for hopefully a stretch run that'll take us deep in the playoffs.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you really brought that up about learning experiences. That's what a lot of these non-conference situations are, right? Being able to have these learning experiences, go through the ups, so you have the 42-6 sprint against Florida Memorial into the third quarter, and then the downs as well, getting losing that lead and having to find a way to win that game, losing this week. So going through those ups and downs in non-conference play, you hope as the season goes on, those are experiences that the team can pull from in order to take things to another level once you get into October and November.
Absolutely.
So, Coach Burton, thank you for joining
Yes, sir.
me. Absolutely the man
Thanks,
with
Lorenzo.
the plan.
Thank you, man.
Director of Athletics, Coach Jonathan Burton. And now we're getting ready to welcome the namesake of the show, Coach James Miller himself, for week 2. Coach
Yes.
Miller, how you doing?
Great.
Absolutely.
Obviously be better if we won, but doing good.
Of course. It's always good to see your face, happy, healthy, for the most part, happy and healthy.
He just says that because I coached him.
But Coach Miller, I'm going to get right into it. It was a hard-fought game on both sides. It was, in my opinion, just from watching it from my seat, a playoff type of atmosphere, just the way that the teams approached it, the coaching staffs approached it. You could tell that even though it was a non-conference game, it was just a game that had a lot of passion and emotion on both sides. Just give me a gauge of what you feel like the atmosphere was, not just on the field, but from the crowd as well.
No, I thought it was a good atmosphere. I thought our kids, I thought we started fast. We get the ball first. We drove right down, scored a touchdown. Then they drove right back down on us, scored a touchdown. And then I felt like the defenses kind of settled in and started playing some really good defense. And then we had some self-inflicted mistakes that, really haunted us and things that we can't do for us to be successful. But it was a great environment. It was unbelievable weather. It almost felt like October instead of early September.
Had that nice breeze going.
It was cool. I could have used a sweater. It was that cold. But it was awesome. I thought both teams played extremely hard, extremely tough. It was a super physical game. There's obviously things that, once we looked at the film that we got to get corrected for us to be successful. But I will say this, I was super proud of the way our kids fought. Nobody quit. Everybody played till the final whistle, which is one thing that I always look for when, sometimes you're not going to come out on top. I want to see guys playing all the way to the end, and I thought our kids did that. They never gave up. They fought all the way to the end, so I was proud of that. So, but it was a great atmosphere, great environment.
Absolutely, and you already touched on it a little bit, but the offense starting fast for the second week in a row, scoring on that initial drive. How important is it for you to see the offense continue to have these fast starts and really use this going forward?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think we're doing a good job putting our guys in position to be successful. I think, you get a lot of time to practice those initial plays. You get a lot of walkthrough of those initial plays. So they really know them like the back of their hand. And that's some things that we're going to change this week. We're going to kind of go off the hip a little bit more in good-on-good periods so guys don't know the plays that are coming, so we can try to execute those plays at a higher clip when we get later in the game, because those are the plays you don't get to walk through as much or get to walk through certain looks. So we'll try to adjust to that to decrease the mistakes. But, yeah, I think it's super important that you start fast and you come out of the blocks fast. I think it helps both sides of the ball. It helps us on special teams, everything. It gives us the momentum early, and I thought our kids did a great job to start the game.
Yeah, and in particular, a position group on the offensive side of the ball that I've been impressed with up to this point, first 2 games of the season. I feel like the receiver group has really developed well. Some of those guys who have been a part of the program for a few years, Cam Curtis, Jacorian Polk, Jordan Gant, guys who've been through it all, been through the fire, and have slowly but surely came along and have become really important members of your team. How do you gauge the way that receiver group has developed to this point?
Yeah, I thought Polk has done some really good stuff. He started slow in camp. I wasn't even sure if he was going to travel. And then he really started practicing really good the last 2 weeks to where we had to play him. We created a package where we like having him out there. And lo and behold, he ends up catching a touchdown pass in the first half. I think it was like the 6th or 7th play of the game on a great route and a great throw by Taylor, and makes a huge play for us, which I thought was huge. Got us off to a great start. And then those guys have really, I think Jordan Gant is a guy that has really stood out to me with his blocking, his receiving, just the way he's approached every day. He's a guy that's played 2 years for us. He's really developed and grown up. He's matured. He knows how to practice. He knows what you need to do in order to be successful on Saturdays and how to approach it on a daily basis. I think with that group, where I was disappointed was our blocking on the perimeter wasn't the same level it was against Florida Memorial. It's got to be better for us to be successful, for us to be able to throw bubble screens and do those RPO type things. That group's got to improve a little bit for us to be able to really make a 9-yard run into a 20-yard run, to make a 8-yard bubble route into a touchdown. It's got to be those guys being unselfish for each other, for either the receiver to make a play or the running back to make a play. So that's going to be a thing that's going to be harped on pretty heavy this week, is their perimeter blocking, because we got whooped Saturday, and that was disappointing. But I do think it's a group that wants to do good, wants to do right. They're buying into what Coach Ennis is saying, and we'll get it fixed.
Absolutely. And switching gears to the other side of the ball, we talked a little bit about that tradition that Reinhardt has had along the defensive line, always having a guy on the edge, a guy in the interior that you can count on. And we know who you have on the edge. You have Emmanuel O'Lighton, who was an All-American a few seasons ago, had a great season last year. He's had a nice start to the year. Nolan Marshall was an all-conference performer a year ago. But you really challenged that interior group and someone to step up from that group. I thought Nathaniel Sanford really answered the call out of all of those guys from this past game. Do you feel like the way that he played, the standard, the new standard along that interior defensive line has now been set?
I don't know if it's been set, but he definitely took a step in the right direction. I think he had 1.5 sacks, 3 TFLs. He lived in the backfield the other day. He made a lot of plays, which we need those guys to make plays, especially with E-Man and Nolan on the edges. Those guys should be able to be freed up to take advantage of some opportunities. And I thought he did not play well the first game, and I thought he really bounced back and put a great week of preparation together, and then came out and performed on Saturday. And I was really, really pleased with the way he played, the effort he played with. I thought he played extremely hard. We got Darren McKenzie back also on the inside. I thought he stepped up. In the limited amount of snaps he had, he played at a really high level. And then actually with E-Man, we're kind of moving him around and going to put him in some different positions to kind of keep people off basis of where he lines up every play. So we'll move him inside, outside. We're kind of going to move him all over the place to put him in position where he can make the most plays possible. But I was proud of those guys. Like we gave up the touchdown on the first drive, and they kind of ran it down our throat a little bit. And then those guys kind of settled in and really reestablished the line of scrimmage. And I thought, besides a couple drives in the second half, which they got us on one trick play, I thought we kind of shut them down, especially run the football. And that back's a talented back. He was a big dude that could really run, physical. And they're physical up front. That's what they want to be. And I thought we kind of handled them. And I was super proud of that group. I thought they really stepped up.
Definitely. And defensively, you already spoke on it a little bit, but outside of the first drive and the first half, first drive in the second half, it was pretty much lights out. Yeah. I believe it was probably, 3 points or 10 points outside of that the defense gave up. What's the message to the guys on that side of the ball, all 3 levels?
Keep doing what we're doing. When we get aligned properly, so when we get lined up, nothing to do with the ball snap, nothing to do with anything of that. When we get aligned correctly, when we know our assignment, I think we got a great chance to be successful. Those guys are super talented. and there's talent on all three levels. And I still think we can play harder, but I think that improved. And I think just us lining up correctly and executing what the defense coordinator, Coach Gardner, wants us to do was at a higher level than it was at game one. Now, playing the number 17 in the country, it's going to have to go up another notch. We're going to have to step up another notch, and it's going to have to be even better. So I'm excited to see what they do. I think we got a great challenge in front of us, and I think they're ready to accept it.
Absolutely. And I know that you'll say there are plays that were left out there. You'll say that there are things that could have been done differently. As all coaches would say after suffering a tough loss, you're going to have things that you feel like you can improve on to change the outcome. I was also impressed with the way that Cumberland played in general on defense. Just speak a little bit about the challenges that they may have presented to you, and how do you feel that they'll do as their season continues?
Yeah, I thought defensively they are going to pressure you. They don't care what the down is. They don't care what the distance is. They're going to blitz every play. That's what it felt like. And I actually thought we handled it pretty well. We just, the biggest thing with us offensively is we are not good behind the sticks. Nobody in college football, in any football, is good behind the sticks. So when you get pre-snap penalties, snap a ball over the quarterback's head on first down, you just do things to put yourself behind the sticks. You make it hard. And nobody's good enough to do that, especially us. So we got to find, we didn't do that the first game. We didn't have any pre-snap penalties. We didn't do anything that really put ourselves behind the sticks. Now, they did some stuff in the first game as far as, tackles for loss and things of that nature, but we didn't have any self-inflicted, and that's where I thought we took a step backwards on offense especially. And there's one play on defense. We had a 3-and-out, or we got off the field on a third down. One of our players ends up on their sideline. I think one of their players pushed our player. Well, the second guy always gets caught.
Always catch the second guy.
Always catch second guy, and we pushed him, and we get a 15-yard penalty, and now we go from being off the field to now we're back out there. And just like Coach Beamer from South Carolina said, nothing ever happens good when you have to re-kick it. Nothing ever happens good when you're off the field and you get a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down. Nothing ever good happens from that. It was super disappointing, and really that could have been the difference in the game. So, I don't want to put the blame on any one person. It's everybody. But ultimately it falls on me. I got to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to make sure we're prepared every single week. And for whatever reason, I don't feel like I did a good job of that. So we're back at the drawing board. Like I said, we're going to do some things different in practice to try to help alleviate some of this. And we're going to make some adjustments to the depth chart for the guys that want to do it the way that we want to get it done. So, our kids had a great attitude today. We practiced about 10 minutes ago. They were awesome. And I think they're excited about what's coming.
Absolutely. And I just feel like there's always these small moments in the game. You already talked about one of them with the situation on the sideline. And I said it on the broadcast, and he was pushed, but they always catch that second guy. That's just something that normally happens. But there are these little moments in the game that may not be something that people look at very broadly. It may not be a 50-yard run, a 75-yard pass, but it's these turning point moments that I always say are the difference between winning and losing. These small moments. I feel like Cumberland in the second half really ramped up their aggressiveness and really made it a point of trying to win those plays. How do you feel the response was in general from the team, from a physicality standpoint as well as a mental standpoint?
I thought physicality, we matched them toe-to-toe. I thought we were coming off the ball. I thought we were trying to be physical, especially up front on both sides of the ball. I just, it's like, I'll put one of the mistakes on me. We got a 37-yard field goal. Not that I don't have confidence in Alex Hansen, but it's 4th and 4. my gut was telling me to go for it, and I kicked it. And I second-guessed myself, and I've never second-guessed myself. And I should have just went for it. We ended up kicking it later in that half, but I think pivotal moments that we really struggled with was we got in the red zone or on their side of the field 3 times right before the half, and we just couldn't put a drive together. We couldn't put a drive together to save ourselves. It was Ben Holler's jumping off sides, Justin Peetney with a bad snap. One of our receivers jumped off sides. It was just kept compounding things that really set us behind. And then we got in a hole, and we were down 24-12, and we had to just start throwing the ball every snap because we were trying to play catch up. We battled back, got it down to 24-18, got the ball back to go win the game, and unfortunately we threw a pick six to kind of put the game out of reach. But I think these are all things that we can learn from. I think they're all things that we can get better at and improve on. I think our kids had a great attitude after the loss. Like you could tell it bothered them. I want it to bother them. It bothers me. So it was, like I said, I'm very upset that we lost, but I still love our football team, and I'm excited about the challenge ahead. It's a new week. We got a lot of football left. That was only the second game of the year. There's still a lot of football to be played. There's still a lot of things to play for, and our kids have to understand that.
Definitely. And in particular, a guy who I felt like exemplified sort of what you were talking about trying to meet that challenge head on. Taylor Jackson. Wasn't an easy game for him. Statistically, probably one of his worst games, coming off of one of his best games if you talk about completion percentage and things of that nature. But I feel like there were times where he was taking a beating when they were sending 6 and 7 guys and sending so much pressure at him. And he just kept picking himself up off the ground, his teammates helping him up. And it was just a really good image to see him continue to battle back and always keep the team in the game. He ran for that touchdown late. Just how do you gauge that, knowing that you have a quarterback that in situations like those, he's always going to give you a chance to win?
I think if you asked him right now, he would be more upset than anybody in the way he played. I think he's tough as nails. I think he played like a gladiator. I mean, that dude was getting, like you said, they were blitzing the crap out of us. We ran a naked one time. Their best player, number 8, the safety, comes screaming off the edge and hits us in the face. He just kept getting up and kept fighting. He's what pay the price means. He was sacrificing everything for the team. He was going to do everything he could to find a way to win. He battled all the way through the whistle. You know, as a football coach, that's all you can ever ask for. I was super proud of him, proud of the way he played. I just can't say enough about him. He really, really battled hard all game.
Absolutely, and we were saying it on the broadcast because you have those moments where a quarterback, when they're sensing pressure, sometimes they can get a little happy feet thing going,
Sure.
And they start to get away from the pressure. They're expecting it. It always seemed like he just continued to battle, continued to fight, continued to give himself and the team a chance. And like you said, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for is a chance to win.
Yeah, I thought he was out a couple times. I was like, man, what are we going to – we got to get Case warmed up. But he just kept bouncing up and figuring it out. He scored the last touchdown on an S, on a power read. Like, did a great job too, man. Put his head down and went and scored, even though the refs never signaled that we scored, so nobody knew what was going on. But he's hard-nosed, man. He's what pay the price means. He's sacrificing for Reinhardt for sure.
Absolutely. I know it's always hard to talk about a loss, especially 48 some odd hours after it, but thank you for indulging me.
Absolutely.
Officially putting it to bed now.
Oh, yeah.
It's over with. It's over with.
It's over with.
And we're going to take this time to take a quick commercial break. This is the James Miller Coaches Show, presented by the Credit Union of Georgia.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay.
Sure has been a while. Dine in at Buffalo's Cafe for the football season.
We didn't come to fix Marco's brakes because it was convenient or fast. We did it because Marco has bigger fish to fry and a lot of hungry people to feed. Kraus Family Ford. Passion drives purpose.
Line, 1st and 10 Eagles. Fakes the give, it's a keeper. Laser to the back of the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown, Reinhardt University Eagles. They jump out to an early lead on the road.
And I don't believe you can ask for a better first drive if you're the Reinhardt Eagles. Effectively running.
Guy. 3rd and medium. Holtzclaw from the shotgun. Pocket breaks immediately. Tossed. He's got room. Touchdown. Cumberland responds right away. It's a 1-point. Great athlete for the Bears at Bradley Central High School. I've covered him before. And swarmed in the backfield. Reinhardt got him. It's a safety.
And who, again, first to the play?
Again.
Big number 76, Alexander Hilton, in the game, listed at 407 pounds.
Low snap. Holtzclaw takes it himself. Touchdown, Cumberland Phoenix. They're back out in front at home.
And they had to get a little bit creative against Reinhardt. Reinhardt, they were not allowing the power run to work. Holtzclaw keeping it for the line to Abston's left. Watch for what Nolan Marshall at DN does.
Fakes the give. He'll keep it himself. Abston throws this. I think that's a forward lateral. He's got it. Down inside the 40, 30, 20, 10. House call. Touchdown, Cumberland Phoenix.
Trying to get answers on that call.
Are they reviewing it or just bringing it back?
They're bringing it back. They're throwing the flag.
Oh, my goodness. No review?
So you went back to that rule. Greg Blue, one of the great safeties for the University of Georgia, he had a rule as well.
Could be trouble. Reinhardt loses the ball. Scrambling for it in the end zone. Cumberland's got it. Touchdown, Cumberland Phoenix.
What a turn of events in this game.
High school or college football. 10:42 to go. Jackson, end around. It's a keeper. Rolling into the house for the touchdown. Reinhardt gets one back. It's 24-18 with 10:36 to go. They need the heroics of number 9. Jackson in the shotgun. Pressure comes. Throws quickly. Picked off from the 40, the 30, the 20. Down over the 10. House call. Touchdown. Taken to the house by Quavian Carter.
And we want to welcome everybody back to the second episode of the James Miller Coaches Show. We have the namesake still with us, Coach James Miller. So we have officially put the Cumberland game to bed. It's over with. Let it lie somewhere behind the curtain.
I will.
We won't even think about it. It's gone now. This week, new challenge. Number 17, Southeastern. Quick preview of the type of team that we can expect to see you guys up against coming up on Saturday.
Now I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched much offense yet. I do coach on offense. So I've watched their defense. I have not watched their offense.
Fair.
Much, but big, physical. They have a really good defensive end, number 91. I think it starts with those guys up front. They're massive. They have 2 320-pound guys inside. They have a really good, dog outside linebacker, number 11, who's a really fast football player. And then they know what they're doing. They're not going to change what they're doing. They do what they do, and that's what they're going to do. And They run two different fronts mainly, so you got to prepare for both with everything you do schematically and make sure the guys up front and our tight ends and everything are all on the same page, and the running backs, how we're going to hit things. So I do know they have a really athletic quarterback. I'm not sure of his number, but I know he's tall. I know he can throw it, but his feet are tremendous. He's super fast. So they always have a good offensive line. I know the O-line coach there. I know his dad really well. He's the O-line coach at Lee County. So they're always good up front, and they got an experienced staff. Coach Waugh, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, does a great job preparing them. They're going to be good in all three phases. That's why they're ranked 17th in the country. But I look at it as, it's a great challenge for us to go down there and play on the road. It's going to be a great environment. They got a super awesome stadium. It will be packed, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Home opener. We're the second home opener in a row.
Another home opener, another great environment. I can speak from personal experience being down there last year. Probably one of the better environments that I've ever played in. Do you believe that experiencing the type of environment that you guys went through on Saturday, does that kind of give you a bit of a leg up, knowing what to expect in these type of road atmospheres?
I don't know if it gives you a leg up, but at least you know what you're walking into. So guys like Zach Lyle, Aaron Inman, Justin Pinkney, Jaden Calhoun, Scrap, Braylon Jones. We got a lot of guys that played in that game that are returning that can tell the guys, hey, this is what you're getting ready to walk into, that have experienced the trip, experienced the long hours on the bus. I mean, it's an 8-hour bus ride there. That's a challenge in itself. So, hopefully we don't have a flat tire like we did last year, knocking on wood. But it's I think from that standpoint, it gives our guys just some maybe inside intelligence that you wouldn't have if you'd never been down there before. Like you had never been down there before. I had never been there before. So you don't know what to expect. Now at least we have an idea what the locker room's going to be like underneath the stadium, how their crowd walks down right by the locker room. We can talk about that. So it gives you a leg up in those things. A leg up in the game, I don't think so. But at least you know what to expect game day atmosphere.
For sure. And unfortunately, last year we weren't able to come out on top. 2023, similar situation. Facing off against a team that has beaten you 2 times in a row, does that give both the coaching staff and the players a little bit of extra motivation going into this matchup? Or do you just approach it like it's any other week?
No, it doesn't. I want to beat everybody every time we play. So it doesn't really give me any extra motivation. It may give the players. I would like to beat them. Like, we've lost to them 2 years in a row. They've both been super physical, super tough games. They've come down to the wire both times. I think the first year we were up 20-6 and they came back and beat us. And then last year we were up, I think, early. Then we had a long weather delay, like 3 hours, made the whole thing just awkward, and had to deal with that. And they ended up coming back and beating us. So, we got to put 4 quarters together. That's what you got to do when you play really good football teams. There's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be a lot of momentum shifts. And you have to be able to adjust to those shifts. You have to be in control of your emotions. So you don't ever get too high. You don't ever get too low when those momentum shifts happen. Yeah,
and is there any added pressure on trying to win after dropping a game from last week?
Absolutely. I think there's always, probably a little bit more anxiety. Like you really want to find a way to win. You want to get that loser mentality out of your mouth. So I would say there's more motivation to get it done. But it starts in practice. The same mistakes that we made in the game Saturday, some of those same mistakes, not all of them. Some of those same mistakes we made in the game Saturday, we made in practice. And Coach Beamer said it when I was playing, and it's true. Whatever you do in practice, you're going to do in the game. So we got to practice better in order for us to have the best opportunity to be successful. It doesn't guarantee you anything. It just guarantees you an opportunity to win. And that's what we got to try to take advantage of.
Yes, and I'm going to give you a chance to open up a little bit without revealing too much of the game plan, of course. X factor you feel, I know it's still early, it's Monday, early in the preparation stage of everything, but X factors, one on offense, one on defense, that you believe can be the difference between winning and losing this week.
I think our running backs. I love our running backs. I think they're all really good players. They're the best players on our team. Our running backs got to play like they're the best players on our team. And I'm going to challenge them, and I hope they accept the challenge. And then our defensive line. I think our defensive line has to continue to take another step for us to be the kind of football team I think we're capable of being. I think they got to play their tails off for us to have an opportunity to win this game. So always got to control the line of scrimmage, but those are the two groups that I think really need to step up for us to have a really good game.
For sure. And this is going to be the second time this season that you're playing a Sun Conference opponent. Mm-hmm. I know that Reinhardt has played a lot of teams from the Sun, going back to a playoff game against St. Thomas, matchups against Kaiser. Ave Maria was another team, that Warner as well. Just tell me about the challenges facing teams from those Florida schools, whether it's talent or the weather, just the challenges going up against teams from the Sun Conference.
Well, I'm from Florida. I'm from Broward County. So I know the kind of players they got. They got dudes down there. There's a lot of good football players. I think the most guys in the NFL are from the state of Florida.
We can fact check that.
Per capita, I believe. Per capita. But, the thing that makes those schools interesting and different than other places is if you go from Fort Lauderdale to Tallahassee, there's, I think, 2 1AAs, and then it's all Florida, Miami, and Florida State. The only other division in that state is NAIA. So the talent there for them to go pick through is pretty high. And I think it's just a super talent-rich place. I think they're getting a lot of kids that go other places and then want to come home. Not saying Southeastern in general, because they have a lot of high school kids like we do. But I think all those schools do a really good job of recruiting the state, recruiting their home state, not trying to go outside their state too much. And they do a great job of recruiting and bringing in really highly talented football players and super successful. Kaiser's played for the national championship, I think, 2 or 3 years in a row. St. Thomas has been super successful in a short amount of time. Southeastern, who I thought was one of the most talented teams last year, should have made the playoffs. They didn't. They should have, 100% should have made the playoffs. So there's a lot of good football in the Sun Conference, along with the other teams, the ones I didn't mention. But there's a lot of good teams in that conference and a lot of teams that are super talented. So it always makes it a challenge to play that conference. They do a great job, well coached. So it's a good conference for football.
Definitely. And I want to finish with this, just like last week. The Coach Miller word of the week. What's the one word that you're going to use to motivate your coaching staff, motivate your players, motivate your team, motivate the fan base even? What's the one word message for the Reinhardt football program this week?
Operation. We have to operate better for us to be successful. If we don't operate, if we don't yell out substitutions, if we don't have pre-snap penalties, if we don't jump off sides on defense, if we can get a line correctly, I think it gives us the best chance for us to be successful any Saturday, whoever we're playing. we got to operate. I think that's key.
Absolutely. Coach?
Pressure, shoulders bother me a little bit, so it's hard to get it up there.
It's all good. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. This was Coach Miller, the namesake of the show, Coach James Miller of the James Miller Coaches Show. And now this is the part of the show we're going to have a chance to shine a light on some of the key players from this previous game against Cumberland. Now, first we're going to have the Buffaloes of Canton Defensive Player of the game, Braylon Jones, number 8, safety. Braylon, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, pleasure is all mine, man. It's good to see you. It was good to see you out there healthy and firing on all cylinders this past week.
Yes, sir.
I know that last year was sort of a tougher year for you, having to go through an injury, not play the amount of games that you likely would have wanted to play. What do you feel like you learned about yourself, both as a player and as a person during that time, really a way to reflect?
I think the most important thing to me in that moment was seeing how good of a teammate I could be, I think. Just stepping up in that way since I couldn't be there on the field with the team, supporting the guys, helping them through practices and things like that, just supporting them as much as I can off the field as I would on the field. And then another thing is just being able to accept things for what they are, like being off the field, not being able to be out there contributing, just putting faith in God and letting things play out the way He intends them to play out for me. And I think that's the two biggest things that I took away from that experience in itself.
Absolutely, and wasn't the result that you wanted as a team, of course, as you would want or the team would want, coming up short, but you personally having a great game, getting that big-time interception in the second half, really seemed like it was one of your better games here at Reinhardt. How do you gauge your personal performance, and how do you put it within the team construct as well? How do you feel like you guys played as a defense on Saturday?
I think as a team we played fast, physical. I mean, at the beginning we started slow. I don't think we all started how we wanted to, because they did kind of drive it down our throat the first drive. But I think we picked it up a lot, second quarter, third quarter, and I think we finished the game well as a defense. We were playing together, playing physically sound, and a few mistakes cost us big, and giving up a few touchdowns, obviously, that we shouldn't have gave up. But I think as a team we played real hard. Myself, I was just doing everything I could to help the team win. The stats and stuff doesn't really matter to me. I was just out there playing. I wasn't thinking about anything I was doing. I was just out there trying to be the best I could for the team. But, I love just being out there with the guys and being in those moments where we're fighting adversity. It's a tough game, and it brings us closer. I think that's the most important thing in those moments, to know that we're in it together and we got to fight to finish. But, I think we performed well as a defense.
For sure. In 2023, you were the Appalachian Athletic Conference Defensive Freshman of the Year. This season, you're expected to be one of the leaders on this defense. What would you say is the biggest difference between Braylon Jones, the freshman, versus Braylon Jones, the single-digit leader, one of the captains of the defense? What do you say is the biggest difference between those two versions of yourself?
I think just maturity level. I think I've matured in my game. I think I've matured in my ability to bring the other guys around me up, and I kind of take pride in that. So I think that's the biggest thing that I changed, or I tried to attack in the off season and between my freshman year to now. I think that's the biggest difference.
Braylon, I appreciate you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great game.
Thank you.
Keep it up. That's Braylon Jones, ladies and gentlemen, the defensive player of the game. And now we'll have a chance to talk with the offensive player of the game, Mr. Jacorian Polk, but everybody calls him JP.
What's up, man?
How you doing, sir?
Good, straight good.
Absolutely. You had a great game on Saturday. Great start of the season for you. You've been a very important piece of the offense pretty much since your freshman year, 2022. How has that experience shaped the player that you are now?
That experience, I feel like it gave me lessons like to learn from, and the mistakes I had came up in practice and the games I learned from it, and like just take it upon myself.
Absolutely. And you're a part of that receiver group that really seems to be taken off this season. You had Jordan Gant, who was Offensive Player of the Week last week. Cam Curtis, who made some really nice plays this week. Of course, you scoring a touchdown, some nice catches. What's the vibe like in that room? Obviously, it can't be too high because you're coming off of a loss, but how was the overall vibe in that room? Do you feel like you guys were all moving in the right direction?
I feel like we were moving in the right direction. We just got to be counting on all cylinders, really. Special teams. We just came up short, you know. But I feel like the receiving room is good. We got to come up better on our drops and stuff. Missed assignments, penalties, false starts. Just the little things, you know, the detail. Just got to come up big with that and improve me this week.
Definitely. And you're a guy who I know that the program motto is pay the price, being able to do what's right for the team. That's something that you kind of went through on a personal level, switching your position. You were playing tight end in high school. You were attached to the line of scrimmage a lot, and now moving out wide for most of the game, playing receiver. What was that transition like for you? Was it a difficult transition? Was it something that you wanted to do? How was that for you?
No, I feel like it was a great transition, a great decision. I feel like it's better than me. I like to run my route. I like to run routes, you know. I like to block too, you know, but like running routes is just a more effective thing, you know. The change from tight end to receiver, I feel like it is a different aspect, you know, gasping for air, you know.
Yeah, a lot more running.
Yeah, a lot more running, way more running. Like, yeah, I'm with the Jets now. I used to be with the I forgot. I used to be with the Mids, but I'm with the Jets now. So the 110s, I got to run 100. I don't run 80 yards. I run 100 yards with the Jets. So I mean, the condition is way different. So from that aspect,
I can feel that. I know I used to play offensive line, and I never wanted to show just how fast I could be, because running with the mids, having to run up that one level over, it's not easy. When you know it firsthand, it's not easy. But JP, appreciate you for joining me, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Tremendous game on Saturday. Please keep it up.
Appreciate it.
That was our offensive player of the game, Mr. Ja'Cory and JP Polk. My name is Lorenzo Robinson. This has been the James Miller Coaches Show, presented by the Credit Union of Georgia, the official bank of Reinhardt Athletics. Thank you, and we will see you all next time.
We have one subpar year, which will be other people's best season ever.
Jackson throwing it, McKee open down the field, and it is a touchdown for the Reinhardt Eagles. On the left side, trying to snip on annual old Rice hit. It's Ethan Rice in at quarterback. Rice making a move, Rice down the side to the 10-5, touchdown Reinhardt. The fake handoff. The pass is complete. It's caught by Cedric Colors. It'll be a first down for the Eagles. The handoff, fake handoff. The catch by Austin Davis at tight end. Davis making a move, picking up the first down. A gain of about 20. Quick pass. The tackle is made by number 11, Adam Oliva, in about 3. And coming across the formation, the handoff is fake. Thrown into the end zone. Touchdown, Taylor Jackson to Xavier Walker. The hold, it is good.